Here at TTS, one of the fastest growing pieces of our business is intermodal. And if you read the press and the newspaper, you understand why. Right now, intermodal is a $14 billion business domestically, and the analysts expect it to increase to $20 billion by 2019 or 2020. In my lifetime, it's probably the fastest conversion from highway to intermodal that I've seen, and everyone, including the railroads, expects this to continue. We will, however, or we do see after this winter, a bit of a slowdown due to some of the congestion issues we had across Chicago, St. Louis, and Memphis due to the weather. But my guess is as we get closer to peak, business is probably going to pick up. In fact, during this particular winter polar vortex season, we saw a shift from boxes being short in California to boxes being short in the Midwest just because the natural progression of shipping has changed both eastbound and westbound. And speaking of that, we also see a change in the way business is flowing. About 10 years ago, probably 70% of the import business flowing east came through the port of Long Beach or the port of Los Angeles. Now, probably 60% of the Eastern Railroad carriers' business comes through the East Coast ports. And obviously, with the expansion of the canal, we'll see some additional shift perhaps into Florida. The FEC and the state of Florida have spent a lot of money investing in an intermodal facility down there. But back to the intermodal business, we see a continued push because of driver shortage, because of increase in business. The economy obviously is much better now than it was 2 or 3 years ago. We see a much greater push towards shifting business off of the highway, particularly long haul, and onto intermodal. All of the railroads, particularly in the east now, are looking at shorter haul moves to deal with the import containers that used to come from the West Coast that I mentioned, that now may be coming from Jacksonville, Norfolk, Port of New York, places like that. I really believe there is a true partnership and collaboration between shippers and rail carriers now on how can we better convert intermodal and get business off the highway. We're involved in this particular piece of business because 30% of our freight here at TTS moves intermodal, and we continue to have the power to move you.